The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. Bounty head over here is Jeremy Greene, and we are live in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Welcome everybody into the chat this morning. Yes, it is. I see it is already rolling and on fire this morning. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. Join the House of Reprehensibles if you have not. Share it out with your friends so they can join the party as well.
I see a lot of beer mugs in the chat.
Yep.
We have some that will be rolling into their next tier very soon. I don't know exactly how long it is. I think it's about a week and a half from now. We'll be seeing different colored beer mugs in the chat there. Mm-hmm. And we just keep rolling on.
Indeed. Last night, Monday Night Football, Jeremy pulled even.
The reigning, defending, tied. It was tied.
It was tied.
We
I win the tiebreaker, though, because I won the big one. I won the torch ticket, so that was the tiebreaker.
No,
I win again. I win again. I win again.
That's the most Democrat shit I've ever heard in my life. I won this one, so that counts above all else.
That's right. Jeremy is going to have to pay off the torture ticket this evening. Oh, we gotta stop to make.
Unless you got a squirrel in your pocket, because we got to record a power ranking show too.
Yeah.
Guess how much of that I've done.
We'll have to go get some Mount St. Hell No chicken fingers from the Rocky's Hot Chicken Shack.
The way we're going to do this is that I'm just going to eat them throughout the last call.
Okay.
I actually did get a support. I totally forgot. I've actually eaten these before.
Oh, okay.
By choice. I chose to eat these.
Gross. Why would you do that?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I like spicy
because
things.
You were drunk?
No. Actually, at that time was not drunk. I was drunk or a kid. I was a kid. Not a young kid, like early 20s. Mm-hmm. I had to take a nap. Literally had to take a fucking nap.
Yeah. So last night on Monday Night Football, we had the LA Rams fall to the San Francisco 49ers. Congratulations to the 49ers for winning their second game at home in 3 years.
It's in a year. I don't know where this that duration just keeps getting longer every time you tell us.
Pretty soon it's going to be the first time they've won at Levi Stadium in a decade,
which hasn't been open for a decade.
Exactly.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Last night was incredibly predictable to me, and I'll tell you when I knew that I was on the right side of this: the interception to Odell Beckham Jr. You cannot walk into an NFL game where you have ever thrown a pass to three guys in jerseys.
Right.
That's not going to end well, especially not against a defense like San Francisco. You can't do it. Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand that Sean McVay is the genius. You're just not going to get over some of this shit.
Right.
Now, what are the big takeaways today? I want to hear your takeaway, and then I will give mine.
My takeaway for how the game went down last night?
For last night.
I mean, I thought the game plan was absolutely perfect.
You know that thing I said about Bill Belichick's game plan against Cleveland? Mm-hmm. How it was the perfect defensive game plan? Mm-hmm. The opening drive for Kyle Shanahan is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
My wife was so tired of listening to me talk by the end of the first drive that she just went and took a bath. She was like, I'm done listening to you go full just deep dive on the intricacies of pre-snap motions. Right. And God bless that woman. She's very patient. And I love her for that because she listened to all of it.
It was the perfect game plan of just keep the ball away from L.A. They dominated the time of possession. That opening 11-minute, 18-play drive that went 93 yards, they came in with a game plan that said, we're going to run the ball, and we're going to run the ball a lot. The goal, according to Kyle Shanahan, was 40 times, and they did it 44 times.
And my fear was that once they got off the first 15 and they got off the scripted plays, that it would go sideways. It didn't. Mm-mm. Kyle Shanahan showed why he has been very successful in this league.
And he owns Sean McVay. It's the fifth time in a row he's beat him.
Yeah. Okay. I hate
What?
those.
Why?
Oh, we own Sean McVay. No, that's a very disingenuous stat.
Why?
Well, San Francisco went to the Super Bowl for during the season of 2 of those wins.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rams were fine.
And they were dog shit last year and beat them twice. I mean, there's got to be a common connection there. You beat them with a good team, beat them with an injury-riddled bad team.
Yeah, here's the.
I win the coaching battle.
I can tell you exactly what it is. They flashed this stat like 6 times last night.
Okay.
Raheem Morris is the 3rd defensive coordinator they had in 3 years. Against San Francisco, you need to be really comfortable in the system you're running because there are a lot of things that happen, and you saw it last night. Guys just getting out of position. The wham block, which is, by the way, my favorite term in all of football scouting. I love the wham block, and nobody does it better than George Kittle. Nobody. That team is exactly what I told you they were. You have been throwing dirt on San Francisco for months, and it never made any sense to me. Oh, they haven't played well. I get that. There's been a lot of instability. You know what? You know what San Francisco did last night? Fuck the Trey Lance talk. We're done with that. Stop talking about Trey Lance. He's irrelevant. Trey Lance matters as much to this team as Jerry Rice does. So just move along. We're on to bigger and better shit. Debo Samuel, by the way, may be the best receiver in the NFL. He is certainly the best receiver that you do not talk about.
Yes.
There is no doubt about that.
Yes, I agree with that.
He's the most undervalued great receiver in this league.
I mean, he can do so many things. I mean, ran the ball 5 times last night, had a touchdown, caught a touchdown as well. Debo's a great player. There's no doubt. And there's no doubt that this team is better when they're at, I don't know if you can say full strength because they're dealing with a lot of injuries still. But when George Kittle's back,
the offense is very different with
better.
George Kittle.
Yeah.
There's no doubt the offense is different, and it's better with George Kittle. Now, last week we did hey, this is how we think the rest of the season's going to go. I talked about one of my wild card teams yesterday, the Philadelphia Eagles, because they play a lot of Washington football team, New York Giants, blah-de, 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 blah.
Yep.
After what you saw last night, I want you to think about what I'm getting ready to say. The next 5 games for this team, at the Jaguars, Vikings, at the Seahawks, at the Bengals, Falcons, they will be a favorite in every game I just said. Every single one of them. And what I didn't say, there's still a game with the Texans on the backside of that. The San Francisco 49ers are going to make the playoffs. And I'm telling you right now, they're the team that nobody wants to see. I have never fallen off San Francisco. I don't give a shit what happened with – if you look at who they've lost to, they went Packers, Seahawks, Cardinals, Colts 4 weeks in a row. That is a murderer's row, especially when you're missing one of your best players. This is the team that's going to get in that nobody wants to screw with. You know why? Because they can do shit like they did multiple times last night. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be the last edification of this that you see with Debo Samuel in the backfield. Because that is really hard to stop. And I'm going to try to not go too deep divey scout guy to tell you why that's so difficult to defend. But the biggest thing is, I want you to think about defensive alignment. And now understand that a corner is going to be on Debo Samuel virtually all the time. How do you stop him when he's lined up in the backfield? If you're in man, which, by the way, that's when they were doing that. That was a little alert play that anytime they had Debo in the slot, they could pull him in to line up at running back. Now you've got a corner. Now the numbers are off. Because I got 5 linemen and probably a tight end. You have 3 defensive linemen, which is how the Rams play the majority of the time. 3 or 4 linebackers in the box, but you also got one that's got to deal with Kittle.
Right.
Because if you go straight heads up man, and the numbers are just off. So Kittle comes in on that wham block, and now it's just a free sailing. Here we go. Downhill with big linemen on corners. It's a genius. Genius schematic maneuver by Kyle Shanahan. I loved it. It was beautiful.
And they can continue this, as you said, with the schedule coming up. And, yeah, I mean, I thought San Francisco was going to be one of the best teams in the NFL this year. And they just haven't paid off.
I think they are.
You think they are?
At full strength. How many teams are better than the team you saw last night at full strength in the NFL?
I'd say 6, maybe.
It's not nearly that many to me.
Really?
That team would beat your Buccaneers senseless. I mean, would beat because the thing that you do so well, that takes the advantage away. Debo lining up in the backfield because you never know what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you decide, I'm going to get cute and put a linebacker on him, sweet. That's when you're going to see that wrap move where he lines up and then takes off that way, and now you're one-on-one heads-up linebacker on Debo Samuel.
Right.
Good luck.
Right.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. There's nothing I love more than good football, especially when it's X's and O's. I am just out scheming you.
Right.
And Kyle Shanahan did it all night last night. It was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Now on the other side, for the LA Rams,
RELAX.
Matt Stafford.
You lost the best player on this offense. Robert Woods is the best player on this offense. I understand Cooper Kupp and all the yards. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Cooper Kupp is schemed open. Robert Woods gets open. The catch Cooper Kupp had last night, that's a lot of what the Rams do. Here's the problem. Now you don't have Robert Woods. Robert Woods is the pick guy. He's one of the best blocking receivers in the NFL. So you lose that guy on Friday, and now it's Odell Beckham Jr. Or it's Skoronarek or whatever the fuck his name was. I don't remember it. He played at Notre Dame. I do remember him after I saw it.
Yeah.
After I saw him lined up, I went, oh, yeah, I remember you. I remember you. The discrepancy between Robert Woods, that was a big adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
You had game planned all week to do these things, and it was very obvious. Problem is with Odell Beckham, he didn't know what to do.
Yep.
He didn't know the playbook. You want to talk about the Cam Newton thing? Just understand it's a hell of a lot easier to learn the playbook as a receiver than as a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how clueless Odell Beckham Jr. looked in large quantity last night. First interception was on Odell.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. That's not knowing each other.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Odell was running to the locker room to, take a poop or something.
Well, apparently he was supposed to be running a post route and ran a 9, and they just
he ran a 9 and then he ran to the sideline.
Yeah.
This is like wide receiver 101. You never run yourself to a boundary, ever. Like when it's when the play has broken down and now we're just trying to find ways to get open, you don't ever run into the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Matt Stafford was saying, was like, of all places you could have gone, that was the dumbest one.
Right.
So how much do I think Stephen Tao said, "Why we matchy with the red for the new Taylor Swift album?" First of all,
yeah,
it's a different color red. Mine is red and blue. His is Buccaneers bullshit.
Buccaneers bullshit
for the new Taylor Swift album. Is there a new? Okay.
Yes, there's a new Taylor Swift. Did you not see it on social media all weekend long?
No, because I don't care. I think my social media is actually. Oh, Adam Blake said, I was wondering what happened to Jeremy's beard. It just blended in with the shirt. I don't wear red for a reason, okay? But I like this shirt a lot. It matches my shorts. Can't see that, but it does.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask this question because we were talking about this morning. I watched Luke Combs' acceptance speech for Entertainer of the Year multiple times. Love Luke Combs. But I have a question. Are there actually people that still buy CDs? Like, is there a place that you can go physically, tangibly buy a CD?
Record shops still exist.
Yeah, but do they get new CDs? Like, is the guy at what's that place in the Asheville Mall? It's Letters. I can't remember the place. It's the only CD shop I know. It's in the Asheville Mall. I don't remember.
I haven't been to the Asheville Mall in like 8 years.
I haven't either, so it may have been closed for 7 of these. That might be why you don't know what it is. Do they get new FYE? Thank you, +2 Kevin Vick.
Oh, yeah.
And that Stephen Tao and Chuck G and Jason Trump. Apparently, we were the only ones that didn't know what they had. Matthew Hoffman.
Yeah.
Do people still tangibly buy CDs?
No.
I'm not asking you. I've already asked you. I'm asking the people in the comments.
I'm telling you, the answer's got to be no.
Well,
I can't imagine.
Somehow albums are going platinum. How does that work?
Downloads.
Patrick Holt said record stores still get new release CDs from big labels, but it's mostly just online streams now, and vinyl's making a big comeback. Okay. How does an album go platinum? Is it 5 million iTunes downloads? And first of all, who downloads the whole CD? What are you, a serial killer?
I gotta have the full body of work.
You listen to this shit on YouTube. You figure out the songs you like, and you download those.
Uh-huh.
By the way, I'm the only person you've ever met that can genuinely say I have never downloaded anything off iTunes in my life.
No, me neither.
Never, not once. The last song I downloaded was on LimeWire. So, or Kazaa, or one of those.
Kazam?
No, it's Kazaa. I remember that one quite well because I used it for quite some time. That peer-to-peer file sharing shit.
Yeah. Napster. And what was the other one? Pirate Bay or something like that?
Anything that Bear Share. Adam Black said Bear Share. I remember Bear Share quite well. You can find some fucked up shit on Bear Share. Do you can deduce from this what you want to. I was about 14 years old when that started happening. You could find some weird stuff on Bear Share. The reason I don't trust people is because the things you found there were off somebody else's device. Somebody else downloaded that by choice.
Right.
Do with that what you want to. Oh, God, Bang, you're so good. Why does this taste like shit? My wife ordered a whole case of birthday cake bangs.
Oh, God. You haven't learned your lesson.
Well, no, I have to get that. They're in the way of my new ones. My good, delicious
guava
bangs. And I don't have a place to put them because there's all these in the bar, so I'm trying to drink them.
Oh, God.
I run on caffeine and anger, and by the end of last night, I had about that much of a bang left. Like, that's never happened before.
Kevin Vick says saying vinyl is the best way to listen. Is the person that thinks that tofu is a good substitute for meat. Agreed.
I don't mind vinyl.
I mean, it depends. I've never understood new music on vinyl. Like, I can understand listening to, classic music on vinyl. Shit that was actually made when record players were relevant. I don't understand this putting new shit on the old technology. Like, why?
I mean, because look, you know what's a great night for Jeremy? Take the old Gordon Lightfoot vinyl, throw it on.
That's what I'm talking about.
Enjoy yourself.
To me, that's completely fair.
Yes.
I'm getting the new Taylor Swift and go listen to it on my record player. What? Why?
Here's the thing. If you handed me a CD right now, I would go, what in the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
You don't have a CD player in your car?
No, I don't have a. I might.
Yeah, you do.
I think there's a quarter stuck in it. Because I think I got drunk and just went, look, this fits right there. I put $9.06 in my CD player.
My car has a tape player.
Yeah, it does. I've seen it. You strike me as one of those people that once had that tape that with the cord that you plugged into your CD player.
No.
You never had that.
No, I never had one of those.
I don't believe you. I straight up, I think you're bold-faced lying to my face right now. I don't believe you.
No.
As a matter of fact, you are the definition of the person that I think that was made for. My car is from 1974, and I don't have one of them confangled CD contraptions.
I don't think I did. Maybe I did.
By the way, these are my favorite shows.
I bought a CD player. Like the first car I ever had was a 1984 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. That damn thing was a boat.
Oh, yeah.
And it had a tape player in it, and I was working at Best Buy, so I got the employee discount and just bought a CD player. And
I never understood people that installed aftermarket CD players in cars either.
Why?
I had friends in high school that had like look at the sweet, it's got blue lights and shit.
Yeah.
It's the best of
it's got like 8 gig dolphins that go across. My buddy had one of those. I was like, that's not. You shouldn't do that. You're a grown man. You realize that, right? And you got dolphins swimming on your CD player.
I just never understood that. Like, okay, so what's the point? And yes, I did at one point have subs. Okay, I understand the aftermarket shit. I just never understood the face. I never understood the face. It would fall out. And all the weird shit would happen. Then it wouldn't work. And then he'd be like, "Oh, I gotta put it back." And it was genuinely like trying to find a G spot. Like I watched more than one person do that. Like it's still not in there. It clicked. It clicked 6 times. Right. It's freaking in there. Why is it not lining up? These are my favorite shows we do by a grand
just
amount.
Completely off the rails.
Yeah, 100%. Fantasy football was on the frame. 16 minutes in, hadn't even mentioned it. Talk about burying the lead. I can't even keep up with the chat. I'm going to have to go back and... Points are back. Just so we know, points are back.
Alex S. I mean, it's like you know me, man. He said, Tank looks like he's never had a car that he didn't drive to death, either by his weight or overdriving. Bingo.
That's a double bell. That's a +4.
Yeah. Bingo.
His current car looks like it fell out of Back to the Future. Like, you see in the time travel where something goes wrong, somebody steps on a bug, and like the whole past goes cattywampus. His car looks like somebody stepped on it in the future, and now it's just this shell of a thing, and it makes this horrendous noise.
Oh yeah.
So I have to tell this story. So we were driving back from the Asheville Championships. All right, so we did a remote at the Harris Event Center.
Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville.
Look, they've named that 6 or 7 different things.
Okay? You gotta say it right.
The Harris Event Center is still where I'm going.
That's in Cherokee. This is the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville.
Okay, we were at that. We're driving back to Radio Ranch, back roads, because Impatient here couldn't just go the interstate.
Why the hell would I take the interstate at 5 o'clock? That's a dumb idea. Don't ever get on the Bowen Bridge at 5 o'clock.
Because it's the shortest route by a lot.
Not when you got to be back here by 6 o'clock.
Whatever. Anyway, we take a turn and we hear what sounds like a tire falling off a car. Yeah. We both looked at each other like,
was that a wheel?
Fall off. Was it just the hubcap, or did the actual wheel fall off? And we're about to go careening into the creek.
We did. Had that thought for just a second. Somebody was moving a manhole cover or one of those. It wasn't a manhole cover. It was like the gasoline cap cover at the gas station right next to us at the intersection. But yeah, I had that thought for a second, like, oh fuck, the wheel just fell off.
It just fell off. OFF fell the fuck off, and now we're all gonna die.
Because it does make this sound when you turn. That sounds like a creaking wagon. Just
yeah, it's a very metallic noise, which is very unsettling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, hell, I spent $9,000 on that damn car, and I'm gonna drive it till it breaks. Because I'm cheap as fuck.
This rabbit hole brought to you by Wicked Weed Brewing. Wicked Weed Brewing, drink and think different.
The Harris Cherokee U.S. Cellular Civic Center of Asheville.
I'm good with that. I can remember that. That damn building has had more names.
It's had 3.
That's enough. Okay, that's plenty of names. Pick a name and let's roll with it.
All right, anyway, so Los Angeles, you're not concerned about the Rams at all?
No.
I mean, Matt Stafford, he has now hit the stage where he is in that nothing's going to go my way territory. 2 interceptions on the first 2 drives of the game.
And one of them was taken back. Completely not his fault.
Oh, yeah. I don't think either one of them were his fault.
The second one was a really poor decision.
Okay.
At best, you're going to get that receiver demolished. Mm-hmm. At worst, Jimmy Ward's going to go full on Ezekiel Elliott and look like the best ball carrier on the field.
Right.
Am I the only one still weirded out by the numbers? I see Jimmy Ward wearing number 1, and I'm like, that just doesn't look right.
Oh. Nah.
It just looks weird to me.
Odell, I didn't even pay attention. Odell, what was he wearing last night? Was he wearing
3?
3? Yeah. Because he wanted to wear 13, but John Wolford has 13.
Yeah, and that should tell you everything the Rams think about Odell Beckham. We can't ask John Wolford to change the number. He will be here long after you're gone.
Right. He talked about wearing number 1, but Deshaun Jackson had just vacated that number, I think, and there was something.
You can't. I don't remember how that works.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait. Is there like a 30-day waiting period before you can take some guy's number that you just cut?
I don't know what it is, but there's something. It's something about merchandising.
Right.
But I don't remember what it is.
Right. But anyway, his plan apparently is to wear 3, and then next year he'll wear either 1 or 13 because Cam Akers is changing to 3.
Yeah, and Odell will wear that in a different uniform.
You don't think he'll be with Los Angeles?
Hell no. I think they looked at Odell Beckham after and Alexander said this in comments, he stopped mid-route.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even he stopped. It was that he ran a continuation and ran it to the boundary. And he's just a head case. It's what he is.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't shocked in the least.
What was this tank with a Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, Ram, Fiat is a bad idea?
I would love to see
like
Tank try to
Dodges.
fit in a Fiat.
I like Dodges. What are you talking about? My current rust bucket is a Dodge.
Correct.
So last night, I was surprised that the San Francisco 49ers were able to dominate that game the way they did. I wasn't too terribly shocked that they actually came up and won a game. It was just in the fashion that they did so.
The Daniel Calderon, who is a Rams fan to the best of my recollection, he said, I'm worried about our lack of adjustments after halftime. We couldn't stop the run. Here's the thing. You could have. The problem is that every time you would put 4 linemen down, it would stop the run, and all Jimmy would do is check off and go to Kittle. I don't know that there was anything you could do. Not without some schematic thought. I don't really hold that against McVay because this was just an unbelievable gameplay. And this is proof positive of something I've said forever. Good offense beats good defense in the NFL. I don't really think the Rams did anything wrong. Excuse me. I don't think they did anything wrong. I just think schematically you're a 3-4 front. And there you were. Now the question of why was Jalen Ramsey not on Debo, I don't know the answer to that. I do not know how you look at having one of the elite corners in the league and go, hey, let's not put him on one of the best receivers in the league. Let's just troll him out there against Trent Sheffield or Jawan Jennings. I saw him on Jawan Jennings more than once. It's like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Jimmy Ward with the 2 interceptions led the San Francisco 49ers defense, and San Francisco offensively held the ball for, 39 minutes, I think it was?
I would say the more unsettling thing is that you got again, and I say this, I feel like I say this every week about teams that get beat in ways that they shouldn't. You're super unbalanced offensively. You ran the ball 10 times the entire game.
No, you fell behind 14-0
and
early.
That's fine. You can't get. I hate when people say that. That doesn't change the game plan. When that's how you get me 31-10. When that completely changes the game plan because you become one-dimensional and you become really easy to defend.
Right.
If I know you're not even going to try to run, it takes all of my secondary deficiencies away. Because now I can put the extra defender in the secondary. I don't have to worry about any of these other things. And Bosa was having pretty decent success last night.
Cooper Kupp had another big game, 11 catches, 122 yards.
And it was the emptiest 122 yards I think I've ever seen in my life. But he's very, very good.
Yeah, but it should not surprise you week in and week out. He's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy in that offense.
Armchair asked, is Debo Samuel the best running back for the 49ers? Debo Samuel is the best everything for the 49ers. I think if you gave him the opportunity, he might be the best quarterback on this team. He's just that good. That's another one. If you go back to that, Debo came out when we first started doing this. He was a guy that I felt. He started a fun trajectory of I've liked a South Carolina receiver every year for like the last 5 years. Loved him, loved Brian Edwards, loved Shi Smith last year. I have a thing for South Carolina receivers.
Yep. But Los Angeles gets the bye week to think things over, rework the game plan however they need to,
and then be really honest with yourself. They still have games with the Jaguars, the Seahawks, the Vikings, and then a bunch of toss-up games. Packers, Cardinals, Ravens, 49ers again.
Yeah. The last 2 weeks has changed nothing for me about how I think about the LA Rams and their chances to win a Super Bowl. Maybe I'm just being too obtuse about that, just refusing to accept new information.
Well, at least you're not being acute.
That's right.
Math humor.
So anyhow, week 11 is coming. And how do you fix your fantasy team? What are we targeting on the waiver wire this week?
This is a good week to need a quarterback because there are a shitload of them out there that are in good matchups.
Okay.
We've done so well to not say this name.
For like almost 30 minutes.
He's back. Cam Newton.
I got to.
You got to pick him up.
You got to.
You got
in
got
terms
no
of
choice.
fantasy, you don't have a choice. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't, somebody's going to, and it's going to come back to bite you in the tuchus.
Yep, and he played, what was it? He played 8 snaps on offense, and he scored 13 fantasy points this past week.
That's not going to obviously keep happening. But
I mean, not at that rate, no.
Well, I mean, here's what you got to think about. With him coming back and there being, I mean, I don't care how blue a color glasses you wear, the game plan's going to be dumbed down. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see a lot of RPO, and that gives him a very high floor.
Right.
I'm really tired of coughing. Like, aggressively tired of coughing.
Right. I mean, last year that was the only thing that made him relevant in the New England offense was the fact that he could run. I mean, hell, I think he threw 6 touchdown passes the entire season, ran for 12 or something like that. He's going to have value.
Oh yeah, he's a markedly better fantasy quarterback than he is real life quarterback. I've always said that's part of why he is the lore with him is that he's a guy that you can have on your fantasy team. Mm-hmm. I've always thought that played into that. Now, the other two that are on the graphic, Tua Tagovailoa, guess who he gets to play this week? The New York dogshit Jets. I don't really care who the quarterback is. Mm-hmm. They're probably playable against my dogshit Jets. By the way, New York Jets, first team to allow 45 points in 3 of 4 games since 1966.
Sweet.
By the way, I want to watch Rex Ryan and Robert Saleh fight. You want to do celebrity boxing? That's doing celebrity boxing.
No, celebrity cage match. I want the brothers.
Because I genuinely don't know how that would go.
I want the Ryan brothers against the Saleh brothers.
I don't care about Daniel Saleh. Shut the fuck up. Nobody knows who you are. Get on somewhere. And Rob Ryan looks like he's been eating out of a dumpster somewhere.
Right.
I don't need the two of you.
It'd be like the
Rex and Saleh.
It'd be like the Rock and Roll Express against the natural disasters.
Yeah, I just need Rex and Saleh. I will say this. Mm-hmm. My team's been terrible for an extended period of time.
Yep.
We've had more coaches that could whip your ass than about any team in the NFL.
Okay.
Because both of those two would just beat you aggressively.
Rex Ryan?
Oh, God, yeah. Rex Ryan strikes me as that guy you get into a bar fight with, and he will cut you with a broken bottle.
And then when you're laying unconscious, he'll play with your feet.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's something totally wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Man likes a toe. Let him like a toe. It's fine. Many people like many weird things. A lot of people have, weird farm animals in their house.
All right, Justin Fields also on the ad list for quarterbacks.
Hold on. Bet Now guy asked in the comments, what were our thoughts on Rob Saleh when he got hired? I still believe in Rob Saleh. I understand what Rex Ryan said. If you don't know what we're talking about, Rex Ryan basically came out and said, stop comparing me to this guy. Well, okay. I think they're both very good defensive minds that came into... Rex Ryan is a better defensive coordinator. I think Robert Saleh will ultimately be a better head coach. I loved Rex. Mm-hmm. Still do, to be frank.
Okay.
But I'm not tapped out on Saleh yet. I think he's a really smart guy that was given a team it's the youngest team in the NFL. Mm-hmm. So, but in terms of the other quarterbacks on this list, if Justin Fields is still not owned in your league, I'm going to need a 500-word explanation of why.
Right. Maybe you're too flush with quarterbacks and you don't need one.
And I'm talking about in your league. There's somebody in your league that needs quarterback. Mm-hmm. Unless you're playing in a 4-team league, which stop doing that. Or 8. Don't play in 8-team leagues.
Yeah, he's had back-to-back 20-plus point performances in fantasy. He does get the Baltimore Ravens this week, so, I could understand why you be fading him this week.
Why? Against that dog shit Baltimore Ravens defense? I think he's one of the plays of the week this week.
Really?
Hell yes.
He's still a defense that is capable of confusing quarterbers. Did you see what they did with Justin Herbert?
You mean Justin Herbert, who's been bad? We're going to talk about Justin Herbert later in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Herbert has been fucking dreadful for, I could argue, half of this season. We're not talking about it because that team's not popular enough.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Herbert has regressed aggressively.
Okay.
And if you didn't see it against Minnesota, I can't help you.
Right.
I know we have some Charger fans, and I bet you they will agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think Justin Fields is one of the plays of the week this week.
Oh, okay.
I mean, in terms of team defense, I don't really know what more you would need. In terms of team defense, where are the Baltimore Ravens? I'm trying to find them. They're there. They're in between the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Either one of those teams scare you? No, that's a narrative. It's a narrative that this Baltimore defense is good. It's not. Now, why it's not, I don't know.
Yeah.
They have a lot of the same pieces, injuries, a lot of injuries. Stephen Taub, +2. We've had 6 more injuries since that game. You're right.
Oh, okay.
This is a skeleton crew. I love Justin Fields this week. I have him in damn near every league I'm in, and I'm probably going to start him in every league I'm in.
Okay.
Rushing floor this week is really high.
All right, Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa, and who was the other one that's covering up on the screen? Who was the one in the middle?
There's not one in the middle. It's Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa, and Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Oh, okay. Oh, I see it. There's covering up things on the screen. I can't see. Cam Newton.
It's a very little button, so it's not covering up anything that you need to see. You can figure it out from context clues.
I'm just trying to figure out what the rest of the... Oh, it says Dolphins in the middle. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just like the other ones do. Goes back to that context clues thing we were talking about.
What?
Context clues?
Oh,
you
yeah.
remember from 4th grade where it's like, if you miss part of it, if you don't know what a word means, just look at everything around it, you can probably figure it out. Alex S. asked in the comments this week, I'm assuming you're asking for this week, Hurts or Fields? Ooh, where will I have them this week? Fields plays the Ravens. Hurts plays
The Saints.
Oh, it'll be Fields.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be Fields by quite a bit, actually.
Right.
That Saints defense is still good.
Mm-hmm. They are still good. And you'll have Marshawn Lattimore on Devontae Smith. And then you've got, the number 2 rush defense? Going up against Philly and their new run-centric style.
Adam Black asked, does Cam open it up for Robbie Anderson? I'll be honest with you, Robbie Anderson's been so bad, until I see it, I can't. I watched Robbie for multiple years with the Jets. He is painfully inconsistent. And as soon as you think you should trust him, he will poop in your lunchbox.
Mm-hmm. And the best thing he does is what? Get downfield?
The best thing he does is be real tall and run fast.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, Cam Newton, that's not a Cam Newton thing.
Right.
Cam's arm, his deep ball arm is grossly overrated. If you need to see it, go back and watch that deep ball he threw against the Cardinals.
What, on the pass interference?
Oh, I don't even want to talk about that. I hate that call with every fiber of my soul.
The
ball's underthrown by 20 yards. The receiver dead stops. The fuck do you think the corner was going to do?
Right.
Plow right through him because you dead stopped.
Mm-hmm. Is that more of the? Do you see that as more in line of the NBA, the NBA play?
Yes,
of
I
initiating the
call,
initiating the contact.
It doesn't matter what team it is. Every time I see that, I bitch about it.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
All right, running backs to pick up this week, week 11. Obviously, the guy who just went nanners this past week, and he gets the Atlanta Falcons coming up on Thursday Night Football. It's Romandre Stevenson.
Romandre. I think he has earned a role regardless of if Damien Harris plays or not.
I would agree.
And I don't think he's going to.
I would agree. 20 carries this past week, 100 yards. What do you have, 2 touchdowns? I think you've earned some more carries from Bill Belichick. Damien Harris coming off the concussion. He is going to be back in, and he will probably get the most help. But I would imagine it's going to be 55-45 split between carries.
And Damien Harris.
Yeah.
If he's fully healthy, and I don't think he's going to be. This short week. This game's on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And Damien Harris was ruled out on Friday. So he wasn't even close to playing. I think Romandre he'll have the goal line work, and I think he will get more out of the backfield than you think. He hurts Damien Harris a lot. Damien Harris is a guy that if you have him, I would be looking to move him. You're not going to get much, but I don't know that I care.
Right.
Because Romandre Stevenson is here, and he's here to stay. I don't know that either one of them will be fantasy relevant as long as the other one is in the lineup, because you'll just never know. You'll never know what's going to happen.
I mean, so New England Patriots backfield. Okay, we got it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't play, now I will say this: if Damien Harris doesn't play this week, Romandre Stevenson's the top 10 running back this week.
Agreed.
I would rather have him than A.J. Dillon this week. I can tell you that much definitively. They force-fed Romandre Stevenson the ball. And I'm not sure that that's going to change.
All right, Deontay Foreman. He has risen to the top of that poop show that is the Tennessee Titans backfield.
He's out snapping Adrian Peterson. He's out touching Adrian Peterson, and he's getting high-value carries. Do I love it? No. But if his role grows even a little bit, he gets into that fantasy. You remember when Derrick Henry got hurt and I told you that Jeremy McNichols' role was not going to change?
Yes.
I was exactly right.
Good on you for that.
It has stayed exactly the same. That's become more popular in the NFL. Of guys are so situational that even when something happens, it doesn't increase their role. So, I mean, if I had to have a running back for the Tennessee Titans, it would be Deontay Foreman. And at this point, if you're trying to get running backs off the waiver wire, good motherfucking luck.
Yeah. I mean, in a desperation move, sometimes you just have to find whatever's going to score you points. And can he score you 10 points a week? Maybe. Could he have that one game where he goes 95 yards and a touchdown and get you a damn good week?
See, my thought would be he would be more likely to go 2 touchdowns on 60 yards.
Okay.
That's the more likely path but he's getting those high value inside the 10 carries. So,
and guess who the Titans play this week? The Houston Texans.
Yep, that should work out just fine.
Right.
He's a play for this week. I can't tell you exactly where he's going to be in my rankings because I haven't done them yet. But I would say he will probably slot in about 25. Be a high in RB3.
Yep.
Very back end RB2.
Yep. Wayne Gallman, the new starting running back for the Atlanta Falcons.
This is a cautionary tale. I'm telling you, we put him on the screen because we have to. I'm telling you right now, people are burying Mike Davis. He will outtouch Wayne Gallman on Thursday. I promise you. Mike Davis has been hurt. This game, by the time Cordero was dinged up, this was a blowout.
Right.
Why in the world would you cram Mike Davis up the middle when you're getting beat 43-3? Do I think Wayne Gallman's going to have a role? Yeah, I do. I think the entire fantasy community is losing their shit about Wayne Gallman, and I don't get it. How many times have we done this?
A lot.
With Wayne Gallman, I feel like we've done it 6 years in a row.
Well, I mean, he had, 3 weeks? I think he had 3 really good weeks when he filled in for Saquon a couple of years ago. And then that was it. He had one game where he just went absolutely bananas and had 120 yards or something like that. And it was crazy, and everybody jumped out to get him, and then he disappeared again.
It was 135, and it was against Seattle Seahawks.
There you go.
And he had a 60-yard run in that game. Fun question. How many other times in his career has he run for 100 yards in a game?
Twice.
I am to 2016, and I ain't seen one.
You ain't seen another one?
And he's never done it again. As a matter of fact, in the slew of years he's been in the league, he's only broken 200 yards twice for the year. He's just not very good.
No, this is not one that I would be interested in having a piece of. You always ask the question, would you have played the starter anyway? No.
I think Mike Davis is playable with no Cordero Patterson. Because he's going to fill the Cordero role. Mm-hmm. Because he is a good pass catcher. If this game stays close, think about game script. Game script says that they're going to be throwing because they're going to be behind. Mm-hmm. So you think Wayne Gallman's going to become the pass catcher? Because I don't.
No.
I just don't.
Right.
I don't look at Wayne Gallman, a guy that's had not a ton of catches in his career and has exactly one this year. Mm-hmm. I think Mike Davis is still back into fantasy relevant. A lot of people are talking about cut Mike Davis because Wayne Gallman got to work. Yeah, because they're getting the shit beat out of him. Why that doesn't matter to people, I do not know.
Right.
We had to put Wayne Gallman on this graphic. Had to. Because there's just not that many running backs out there.
Yeah. Jeff Wilson going up against the Jaguars this week. Michael Whiteside, he's the San Francisco guy, and Jeff Wilson Jr. got 10 carries last night. Didn't do much with them, but
for me,
10 totes. So
Jeff Wilson's good for one a year. I can't tell you when it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be this year, this week. But would it stun me? No. Ish.
Rob Johnson asks, do you like A.J. Dillon or Michael Carter better this week?
Michael Carter.
A.J. Dillon against the Vikings?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And what happens with running backs with the Green Bay Packers? It happens every single time we do this.
When you expect they're going to get the tote, they don't? Is that
nobody
where you're going?
ever gets all the tote for Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Never. It never happens. Who's it going to be? I don't have the foggiest of a clue because Kylan Hill's out for the year. Aaron Jones is hurt. Patrick Taylor. Who knows? They bring somebody in that winds up getting 14 carries for some fuck reason because Mike LaFleur won't give any running back more than 20 touches.
Right.
I like A.J. Dillon this week. Don't get me wrong. I like Michael Carter a lot this week. Michael Carter will be in my top 15 this week. This team stays behind. Mm-hmm. They're getting killed every week. He's the all-around, I don't mind, Ty Johnson.
Are you going to have Zach back?
Yeah, Zach Wilson should play this week.
The Zach attack back?
And hopefully he learned something from watching Mike White do the same thing he did. Hey, look, I don't want this ball anymore. You have it. There he goes.
Mm-hmm.
The Mike White story.
Yeah. Couple of running backs that are not on the graphic that I feel like need to be mentioned. Again, Alexander Mattison. You don't know what's going to happen to Dalvin Cook, and he's still right at 50% owned.
I need somebody in the comments, because we disagreed about this earlier. Please tell me how many weeks in a row he has said Alexander Madison's name. A lot of you watch this every day, mm-hmm. So you can. He didn't believe me. Somebody just confirm how many weeks in a row he said Alexander Madison. I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah, you have to. I mean,
but not,
how many times am I going to say it?
You're right, but you're not right for the reason that you think you're right.
Okay,
you're worried about the Dalvin Cook thing. Mm-hmm. Ain't nothing happening there. Sorry, too much shit came out over the weekend. I'm just telling you.
Oh, what came out over the weekend?
Oh, God, you need to be on Twitter more. A video basically of the girl that accused him brandishing a firearm and pointing it at people in traffic.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and then her Twitter, there's a lot of things that happen on Twitter. She's not necessarily serving to be the most reputable witness you've ever seen. I can't tell you what happened. I wasn't there.
Little cray-cray.
But I can tell you. Please stop saying that. You're not allowed to say that.
Why?
Because you're you. You don't get to say, teenage lingo. Not allowed. Rob Johnson said 7 weeks in a row. Kevin Vick said 3 to 4 at the least.
Yeah.
I think you've said, I literally think you've said Alexander Madison every time we've done this.
No, maybe so. Sometimes you just have to keep reminding people.
Who's the other one you want to talk about?
Latavius Murray. He's coming back.
This is the one that there's some merit here.
Of course there is.
I don't know how much.
Okay. In 6 appearances so far this year for the Baltimore Ravens, he scored 4 touchdowns. If you're dead at running back, a touchdown-dependent guy who's probably going to get the majority of the tote in a run-heavy offense, that's not a bad way to go. I mean, aside from Lamar Jackson, of course.
See, but that's the thing. Lamar Jackson is the running back you want. Where are Latavius Murray and Devontae Freeman among running backs in the NFL in fantasy scoring?
Oh, God, it's not high.
In standard. Standard scoring, where are the two of them? Devontae Freeman has played 8 games. Latavius Murray's played 6. They're back-to-back, just so you know.
56.
48 and 49. Right in between Mike Davis and Alexander Madison. I'm on Celtics. Are you guys taking trade questions? Absolutely.
Always.
All day, every day. I make way less fantasy football trades than you would think I do. I love answering those questions for other people. See, I have a rule with trades. When I make them, I have to look at it and go, well, you got ficked. That's the only.
It's the only one.
If it's fair, I look at it and go, I don't want to do that.
Right.
That's horseshit. By the way, I'm on Celtics. We're like an AA meeting for sports.
What's up, Amon?
Did you have any other running backs you want to talk about? I'm waiting on his trade question.
Yeah, I don't have any more running backs. Those were the only ones. Latavius Murray coming off of injury again. If you're killed, I think it's an okay pickup.
I just don't know.
I would trust him way more than getting Wayne Gallman.
I would trust him more than Wayne Gallman. I'm not sure that I wouldn't rather have Ty Johnson.
It's just too fluky.
But it's not fluky. When it happens week in and week out, it's not fluky anymore.
Ty Johnson has he's put together multiple steady performances here.
He's ahead of both of the guys you just said by a considerable amount in the same number of games.
Okay.
So the thing about Ty Johnson is he catches a lot of passes, especially when the Jets are getting the fuck beat out of him, which they're going to a lot. Ty Johnson was close to being he was close to being on this graphic. Amon Celtics asks, who would you try to trade Aaron Jones for? My other running backs are Eckler, Elijah Mitchell, and Damien Harris. Receivers are Mike Williams, Tyler Lockett, T. Higgins, and Hunter Renfrow. What is a fair Aaron Jones trade? Ooh, I'll tell you one. It's the guy I've traded for in a few leagues. Miles Sanders. And obviously not straight up.
I was going to say.
Miles Sanders plus. I think you could get Miles Sanders and another starter. Here's the thing. Philadelphia has figured out we have to run. We have to. If we don't run, we're not good. And so when Miles Sanders comes back, what do you think is going to happen? He's going to take over the Boston Scott role. It will still split with Jordan Howard. Here's the thing. The split's happening with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And could I see a path that in the 2 weeks that Aaron Jones misses right here, that he gets passed by A.J. Dillon? Absolutely, I could. They invested a second-round pick in A.J. Dillon for a reason. What would I do for Aaron Jones? I would be looking for something like, let's say Miles Sanders. And you got to remember, him being out 2 weeks is going to hurt his value a little bit, but his playoff schedule is not terrible. I would say I would do Aaron Jones for Miles Sanders, and if you could get Jamar Chase, that would be and I think it's that high. Running backs are that scarce. Even with him being out for 2 weeks, it should be that high. Or one of the tight ends, one of the high-end tight ends, Kittle. Somebody like that. That's what I'd be looking for. Rob Johnson asks, would you trade Antonio Gibson and T.J. Hawkinson for James Robinson? 107 times yes. James Robinson. Rob, you beat us to it. James Robinson's on a graphic here in a little bit.
Right. All right, wide receivers on the waiver wire for Week 11.
Oh, hold on, another one. Who could you get for Romandre Stevenson? It depends. So for me, if you see somebody that's desperate, all right, they've got Aaron Jones, they've got Nick Chubb that they don't know if he's going to be back this week. I think he will be, but let's just say you've got somebody that's desperate. They might do something dumb. They might do something dumb because Romandre Stevenson's going to be good a second week in a row.
Something dumb like give you Marquise Brown?
I would do that. It's a receiver, so it's going to be less consistent.
I felt like that was shooting a little too high.
That was shooting too low, but for Romandre?
Really?
Oh, yeah. After a game like that, this is a running back that – look, I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm pretty good at this. I just traded Joe Mixon and Zach Moss for Miles Sanders, Romandre Stevenson, and Jimmy Garoppolo. Superflex, 2-quarterback league. Quarterbacks are way more valuable. But I told you last week, Joe Mixon's a guy that I'm looking to get off of. Schedule the schedule towards the end of the year is brutal for the Bengals. So he's a guy that I was looking to get away from. And I like Miles Sanders moving forward. coming back this week. Looking very, very forward to it.
Baker Mayfield should be the best fantasy quarterback? What does that mean?
I have no idea.
That's gross. That's gross. I don't want to hear that again. Let's talk about wide receivers for week 11 on this waiver wire.
Receiver is where you can actually find some shit this week. Marcus Johnson from the Titans is my favorite one.
Who?
The guy. This is the second time you've asked me who on somebody that doing what you do, you should fucking know who they are. The guy that had just had 100 yards for the Titans.
Again, who? I didn't know who the hell this guy was when he had his 100-yard game. It was like, I didn't even know that guy was in the fucking league.
You should have, because he was the 2 when Julio was out the last time. And he is, look, I told you, with A.J. Brown, now he is the only thing that scares you. So he is going to get just unbelievable coverage, which opens, this is something that people forget a lot. If you made it to the NFL,
right,
you don't suck. So routes run and opportunity cost are going to be a thing. The second receiver in Tennessee runs routes on about 75% of pass plays because they just don't have any. After this, it's Nick Westbrook Akina,
right,
who has been said on this show way more times than he should. Jason Trump said, my fantasy team squeaking by with 2 to 3 point wins each week. Need to find wide receiver replacements for Julio and Ridley, even more so with AB in my IR slot. AB will, when he comes back, will be playable. If you're looking for somebody for the long haul, it's Elijah Moore. I asked you this question earlier, and I'm curious to see how close somebody can get. What percent of pass plays is Elijah Moore running a route for the New York Jets? He saved his fantasy day this week with a touchdown. And while we're waiting to see the numbers there, Smokey the Cat, welcome Smokey.
Welcome,
we're like an AA
Smokey.
meeting for sports. Said, should I trade Dalvin Cook for Zeke and T. Higgins? I have Pollard and Madison on my bench. That one's so close.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know that I agree with you. Having Madison really ties it all together in a nice little bow. I don't know that T. Higgins is going to be good enough to be the other piece in that. I want something a little better. And when I say something a little better, I'll tell you who I would go for. I'll tell you what I would attempt to do. I would rather go Dalvin for Zeke and somebody like Mike Williams. And I'll give you Madison. I'll give you the handcuff. That becomes really valuable, especially with a guy like Dalvin Cook, because Minnesota's going to run the ball no matter what. So you have a really good, unbelievable combination there. And you have to optimize that. So I would try to go a little higher. I like Zeke a lot. And having Pollard, that makes me want to team the two of them up, so I would try to go something like Zeke and Mike Williams. Kelvion's, we're like an AA meeting for sports. Welcome, Kelvion. Would you give up Zeke for D-Hop? No. I would do it for DeAndre Hopkins and Romandre Stevenson, just since that's a name we were just talking about. I would do that. I want DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins rest of the year is a top 6 receiver to me. He's a high-end, every week in, week out, very safe receiver. There's not a ton of those.
Right.
So I would like to have it, and I don't necessarily love the Cowboys' schedule. I got to say this the right way. They play bad teams. I don't see them losing a lot of games, and I could see Zeke being the guy that poops in your punch bowl in playoff weeks. That's something that we have to really reinforce, especially with a 17-game season, because it's the first time. So you have to be really careful with guys that are on teams that are really good. The Bucks, the Packers, the Dallas Cowboys, the Tennessee Titans, teams that are going to win their division by 6 games. Because by the time we get to week 16, they don't care about your fantasy team. They care about getting into the playoffs healthy. And this is the first time we've ever done this. So they don't know exactly what this is going to look like, especially if they end up having to play in the first week of the playoffs, because now only one team gets a bye.
Right.
I'm being very cautious about having guys on teams that are real good. The Rams losing last night worked out tremendously for me, because I'm looking at it going, okay, that probably That probably takes out the risk that Cooper Kupp's not going to be a thing in the championship rounds.
Mm-hmm.
But Kelvin, I like your idea of giving up Zeke for D-Hop. I just think you can get more than that. Running backs are very valuable. But absolutely keep in the back of your mind before you just blow something off the table, Dallas is probably going to have this division locked up with 6 weeks to go in the season. They could lock this division up in 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
So that's something just to keep in mind.
And at that point, the touches go down for Zeke.
Absolutely.
And
Tony Pollard would probably
becomes,
go up.
Yeah.
And I think you could even see somebody on the backside of becoming relevant. Smokey the Cat said, I traded Darrell Williams for Amari Cooper, win or loss. Don't know how much value Williams will have with CEH back. That is a win of all wins. Because with CEH back, Darrell Williams has virtually no value. Mm-hmm. And you got Amari Cooper for that. That is what we like to call trade robbery. Good for you.
All right, Marcus Johnson is a pickup this week after his 5-catch, 100-yard game.
Jamal
Agnew.
By the way, that's the weirdest play I've ever seen you make on DraftKings. And had you had the rest of your lineup, following me,
it did.
Who's shitting your punch bowl then?
Huh?
Who's shitting your punch bowl then? Because with Jamal Agnew, you should have cashed because that's the low.
I did. I cashed.
Okay.
I cashed this week. Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say I didn't have anybody that missed that aggressively. That having Jamal Agnew at 3,000 should have damn near guaranteed you cash.
No, I did. I cashed this week. I mean, it wasn't as great as I wanted it to be, but
mine wasn't either. Thanks a lot, Mike Williams, Tom Brady, you bunch of fire them cannon dickwads.
Right.
Adam Black said, "Okay, I have Taylor, Jacobs, Carter, and Stevenson. 2 in a flex. Who do you sit?" Who do I sit? It's certainly not Jacobs, and it's certainly not Taylor.
Yeah,
certainly not Taylor. This week it's not Stevenson.
I think it's Josh.
It's Stevenson if Damien Harris plays, because the other 3 have a path to no doubt touches. Mm-hmm. But I'm with you. If Romandre Stevenson's the starter in New England this week, it's Josh Jacobs.
Yeah,
and that's weird for me. Jason Trump said Elijah Moore's not on my wire. Brian Edwards, Darnell Mooney, Tyler Boyd, Kadarius Toney. In that one, Kadarius Toney has lived hurt. Mm-hmm. I want to say him first, but I can't. And that receiving core is getting healthier. So I would go Brian Edwards 1, Tyler Boyd 2, Kadarius Toney 3, Darnell Mooney 4. I don't trust any receiver for the Bears because it's just getting more bootsy. I'm seeing too many passes to Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet. That's the reason you can see Allen Robinson on waiver wires everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Brian Edwards is the one to go out and get. I mean, hell, he caught 3 passes this past week, and not a one of them were fewer than 20 yards down the field. He's going to be the deep threat for Derek Carr.
Brian Edwards?
Yeah.
I love him moving forward. Mm-hmm. I streamed him this week, and it worked out quite nicely for me. And I was planning on that just being a 1 week until I got, my rewards from my trade that I was, looking a week ahead on.
Right.
Now I'm looking at it going, he might be my other receiver now. Armchair Commentary said, talk about handcuffs. How important is it going to be to own handcuffs going into the back half of the year? It's never been more important. Mm-hmm. Never been more important. The value on – so he keeps talking about Alexander Madison. If you own Dalvin Cook, he's worth a lot. And when I say a lot, I'm talking Alexander Madison if you're a Dalvin Cook owner. And this goes back to what Smokey the Cat asked earlier as well. Alexander Madison is probably worth – TJ Hawkinson. Mm-hmm. It's that high because with the 17-game season, you don't know what these teams are going to do. Teams that fall out of the playoffs, do they tap? Now all of a sudden, Alexander Madison's getting running back 1 touches in championship weeks. You don't know. Tony Pollard, same thing. Mm-hmm. If Dallas has that division locked up and they're fighting for the 1, how many touches does Zeke get? I'm not telling you they're going to sit him, but do you think they're going to cram him up that line 18 times a game? Because I don't.
No.
And you can do that with a lot of guys. Smokey the Cat asked, should I start Russell or stream this week? It's Russell Wilson. Start your studs every time. We'll get into Russell Wilson in just a little bit because I have a spicy on Russell Wilson.
Spicy. Jamal Agnew after the big week he had, he's had big weeks 4 times out of the last 5 weeks. He's becoming more and more of a thing in that Jacksonville offense. I know they're bad, but still the guys that are getting the ball in bad offenses, they're going to put up fantasy points.
There's 2 kick returners playing receiver for bad teams. Jamal Agnew for the Jaguars is one, Khalif Raymond's the other one.
Yep.
You just never know what. These are guys that are really good with the ball in their hands. The problem is they can't run routes. So what are Jacksonville, Detroit doing? They're manufacturing touches for them. The problem is you breathe on them and they'll either fall down or break.
Right.
So you have to be a little cautious of them, but they do have value.
Or they could, break a 66-yard touchdown run and make you cash in fantasy.
Also possible.
And then Elijah Moore is the other pickup.
The answer to the question I asked earlier, he's running routes on less than 50% of the snaps that the Jets throw on. If that number gets to 75, he will be a no-doubt wide receiver 2.
Yep.
He's wide receiver 3 right now running. Last week was the highest number he had run. It's 55%.
And with Zach Wilson coming back, does that give you a little bit of pause because they didn't have the greatest chemistry at the beginning of the season, and then you've seen Elijah Moore come on more with Josh Johnson and with Mike White?
And that's fine. Here's what you have to think about. The Jets know there is nothing to this season. The only thing that we can get out of this year is a connection between Zach Wilson and Elijah Moore, and building Elijah Vera Tucker and just a slew of other young guys. They have a lot of young corners. You're going to start seeing them manufacture the touches. We're going to build a relationship between the two of you if it kills us, because we're heavily invested in Zach. We're heavily invested in Elijah Moore.
Yep. Other wide receiver, I had Brian Edwards down here to mention, so I'm glad his name came up.
Yep.
James Washington. James Washington's one that, with the Chase Claypool injury,
don't care.
Ben Roethlisberger coming back, his opportunity is going to go up.
I don't care, because Chase Claypool, I think, will be back next week. And then it's Deontay Johnson. And here's the other problem. This is a nice segue into tight ends.
Okay.
The other problem is that Pat Freiermuth, his target share went down with Eric Ebron back. So now James Washington would be competing with not only Deontay Johnson, not only Pat Freiermuth, not only Eric. Now it's Eric Ebron too, and Claypool coming back. I'm good. The 5th weapon on that Steelers team with Ben Roethlisberger. I'm good. Is he going to have a good week every now and then? Yeah. Is it something I think that you're ever going to know when it's coming? No.
Okay.
Tight ends this week. You had to know.
Yeah, old Dan Arnold.
The tight end whisperer comes through again with rumbling, stumbling Dan Arnold. I love Dan Arnold. That's a lie. I really don't. He's just the most consistent weapon for Jacksonville.
4 of the last 5 weeks, he's had at least 60 yards receiving.
All 3 of these guys have the same thing in common, except Arnold.
Okay.
They're the most consistent weapon in their offenses, but they're not the best weapon in their offense. So, yeah, they're going to have a lot of targets. Dan Arnold had a ton of targets this last week.
24 in the last 3 weeks.
That's a lot. He was very good on DraftKings. He's going to continue to be good on DraftKings. Tyler Conklin, he was a huge pickup last week. He rewarded you with 2 touchdowns this week. The problem is, how many catches did he have?
3.
Yeah. For like 11 yards. A 1-yard touchdown, a 3-yard touchdown, and an 8-yard catch. He's very touchdown dependent. This is how tight ends work. Conklin's the tight end. There is the touchdown dependent one. I think Dan Arnold has a great floor. I do. I think he has a great floor. Kevin Vicks, I tried to tell y'all at the beginning of the year about Dan Arnold. You did. It was on a different team. His usage in Jacksonville has gone through the roof.
Right.
Gerald Everett's the one that I think I would get more intrigued by. And this ties into, there's a question in the comments that we haven't been able to answer yet. And the reason is because I was trying to tie it into exactly what I'm getting ready to say. Gerald Everett is a waiver wire pickup to me. You know why?
Why?
Because Russell Wilson's a buy to me. Kelvion asked in the comments, who do you think I could get for Russ? I got him off waivers?
Yeah, I got him off waivers last week too.
What? How?
Somebody just dropped him rather than putting him on an IR slot.
That's dumb.
Yeah, it was dumb.
So Kelvion, I'm going to ask, who is your other quarterback? When he said when he first got hurt, I don't need him. My question would be, who is your other quarterback? Because right now, after this game, the value on Russ is not there. Here would be my question. What is the value on the guy that you do have? Because there are not that many quarterbacks that I like that much better. Like if you said Pat Mahomes right now, his value just went through the roof.
I got Justin Herbert.
I'd rather have Russ than Justin Herbert. It's not all that close.
Okay.
I mean, to me, it's not even vaguely close. Funny you said that because I think Justin Herbert's on the next screen.
Yeah, on my personal team that I picked up Russell on, I had Justin Herbert and Kirk Cousins, and I saw him out there, and I went, well, I think I like him much better than Kirk Cousins.
Okay, so Kelvion said Matthew Stafford is the other quarterback I have. All right, so this is a fun game that Jeremy likes to play. I get very into the psychiatry or psychology of dealing with people in my leagues. Mm-hmm. Somebody in your league that needs a quarterback real bad is going to think they're screwing you by coming in with a real lowball offer on Matt Stafford. It's not going to be as low as you think. I could easily see Matt Stafford being worth trying to think of the best example I can use here. I could see Matt Stafford being worth, let me look at the list of teams. It's easier for me to do this when because I'll look at the list and I'll go, oh yeah, that guy. I could see Matthew Stafford being worth, I'll use the guy we just talked about. Dan Arnold and Dearness Johnson, who's going to have a role. And people say, oh, that seems low. It is, because quarterbacks don't have a lot of value. Quarterbacks don't have a lot of value, especially if you're not in a high number of team league.
Right.
12-team or lower, quarterbacks don't have that much value. Because you're not, as the atrophy of your roster keeps happening, you're not going to be able to keep two of them. Once the bye weeks go away, you're going to be able to find things like that. Kelvion found Russell Wilson on the waiver wire. By the way, top 5 quarterback rest of the year. That's why he's a bye. I think you just made your team better, and now you can trade Stafford. Who the hell cares what it's for? Mm-hmm. They're not going to shut down Russell.
No.
They have to try to salvage something out of this. They have no impetus to shut him down. They don't have a first-round pick.
Right.
So they're going to keep pushing, and I think Russell will be really good for them.
And he's going to have to keep slinging because they're going to be behind in most of their games.
Oh, I'll tell you another one. Matthew Stafford for Allen Robinson, another player. Tight end, something of value, something that will help your team. Mm-hmm. This is the time of year where you start trading players that will never play for you, of which I'm going to level. Matthew Stafford probably shouldn't play for you again this year. Seahawks have already had their bye. Russell has to play every week. Mm-hmm. Russell has to be great every week because they couldn't run a greasy bag up a cat's ass. Mm-hmm. Barring injury, you don't need Matthew Stafford. And I'll be honest with you, the difference between Matthew Stafford and Daniel Jones is fractional. Stafford's a much better real-life quarterback. Mm-hmm. Daniel Jones is an equivalent,
fantasy
maybe just a shot below.
Right.
That's what I would do. I would try to out-psych somebody in my league of, I just really want rid of Matthew Stafford, whoever the worst quarterback situation in the league is. Mm-hmm. Especially if they have Cooper Kupp. Because you could convince them without convincing them. Make it seem like, we're doing each other a favor. It's Stafford. I gotta have Michael Gallup and Christian Kirk. Mm-hmm. I need 2 receivers to play this week. And you can burn somebody in your league.
Okay.
There's a reason. By the way, I pulled this just out of curiosity. Over the last, I think it was 5 years, my average record through the first 10 weeks of the season in fantasy football, what do you think my average record is?
6-4.
5-5.
Okay.
There's the average record I have.
Okay.
Last 6 weeks of the season, what is my average record?
4-2.
4.7 and 1.3.
Nice.
I tend to be that team that you want to throw dirt on.
Right.
Because I will start manipulating you in trades. Mm-hmm. And I will get the better of you quite often.
Right.
You have to look at your fantasy team much like you have to look at a fantasy team in a different way. People get too locked up with where they draft players. I don't give a fuck where I drafted a player. Romandre Stevenson. He's one of the best players on my team currently for this week. Mm-hmm. Everybody starts looking super long term. Every week matters. And so people start tapping out on guys like Romandre Stevenson. I got him as a throw-in a trade. Guess what? 1 meal a week.
Yeah.
1 meal a week. 1 meal a week in a league where my playoff schedule is unbelievable. Couldn't be any better if I tried. Mm-hmm. All I have to do is make the playoffs. That's it. Make the playoffs. Fun shit happens from there. Mm-hmm. And pay attention to your guys' playoff schedules.
Right.
That's why I'm buying James Robinson. Because do you know?
No.
Do you know how somebody Cool Arrow? We're like an AA meeting for sports.
What's up?
He asked how much moonshine does this guy had. Well, I went to West Virginia and I live here, so more than a lot and less than every day. About the best answer I had for that. Mm-hmm. I do like moonshine, by the way. I like pretty much anything alcoholic that's not vodka. Vodka's disgusting. I don't like tater juice. I'm out.
Okay.
Sorry, Sky.
Really?
Ooh.
You're not into the curly
juice.
Not into the curly fry vodka?
I mean,
I'm still getting me some of that. I'm still getting some of that.
Arby's curly fry vodka. God, that sounds terrible.
So who the Jacksonville Jaguars play down the stretch here that makes you so hot on James Robinson?
In the playoff weeks, they play the Jets, or they play the Texans, the Jets, and then they get the Patriots. The Patriots may not be playing anybody by that time. Mm-hmm. Patriots are probably going to make the playoffs. That's a forecast to the highest extreme. But even if it's just the Texans and the Jets, that's good enough.
Right.
That's good enough.
At least get you into the championship.
Mm-hmm. All they have to do is stay close, and James Robinson's valuable. Mm-hmm. James Robinson had value this week, and he was terrible. Mm-hmm. Why? Because they stayed close. That's all you had to do.
And again, look at the team. Look at the only weapons that they have. James Robinson is number one, and that's why guys like Jamal Agnew have value as well.
Sorry, I had to get rid of that damn cough drop.
You're good.
If you missed the first half of the show, I couldn't stop fucking coughing. So.
James Conner, also on the bye list. As the weeks roll on here, Chase Edmonds, he's not going to be fantasy relevant again. I don't know.
Well,
I don't think
he's still out. Here's the
but what they're saying is that, I mean, he may not be back until week 14.
I don't care if he is. Because you're going to get James Conner right now for a bag of dicks. Because, he wasn't good this week. Yeah, because I got slaughtered by the Panthers. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's going to keep happening? No. Right now, he's the only running back on this team. Mm-hmm. The Arizona Cardinals are the most prolific offense in this league.
Oh, you're forgetting Eno Benjamin.
No, I'm not. No, I forgot him on purpose. I forgot him the year he was drafted, and I forgot him now for an absolute reason.
Right. You look at his he doesn't have the best playoff schedule, though.
But I don't. That's the thing with James Conner, I don't care.
Okay.
I need him to be good right now. I need you to be playable right now through bye weeks. I don't need you in the playoffs.
Okay.
Most likely, and I mean, I'm just using the roster that I have James Conner on. I have Nick Chubb on that team. James Conner was like a 10th round pick for me. Mm-hmm. I need you to be good through bye weeks. That's all I'm after.
So you got Seattle coming up this week. Then you go to the Bears. You got the Rams after that.
I saw that you could run on them last night. Not a plus matchup, but you saw it last night.
And then you got the Lions.
If you told me he started in all 4 of those games, he is worth whatever it is you have to give up for him right now. Because it ain't going to be much. After the turd of a week last week, it will be real easy to convince whoever has Adam Black for some reason. I guess I was just staring at the screen. Whoever has James Conner, it would be very easy to convince them.
Love Adam Black, but I'm not taking him in fantasy.
Yeah, I don't know that I want Adam Black in fantasy. If we're doing
fantasy preachers,
damn you. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Mark Lewis, we're like an AA meeting for sports. Welcome, Mark.
What's up?
Said, should I trade Joe Mixon for Javonte Williams? I wouldn't do it for just Javonte Williams, but it's close. Joe Mixon's playoff schedule sucks. I love Joe Mixon. I've waxed poetic about Joe Mixon all year long.
Yep.
Look at his playoff schedule.
Yep.
And I like Javonte Williams a lot. Smokey the Cat said I traded Stafford for Elijah Moore and Gesicki.
Good for you.
That's quality value.
Hell yeah.
That's probably 2 long-term starters, especially if that's a deep keeper league. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not, I still like it. But if it was somehow that was a dynasty, that would be the greatest home run in the history of time.
All right, let's talk about your sells this week.
Let me add to Mark Lewis's question.
Okay.
Should you trade Joe Mixon for Javonte Williams? That's a nice framework. I would want another piece with Javonte Williams because I don't think they're going to run him into the ground. But as soon as they fall out of playoff contention, it's okay. We're just trying to get him snaps now. Mm-hmm. We don't want to kill him. I would try to get something else. Doesn't have to be Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore would be a nice little addition onto that.
I don't know that you could get that, though.
I don't know that you could either.
Yeah.
But here's the thing I know definitively. You'll never know if you don't ask.
That's true. Although you are the one with Joe Mixon, so you've got all of the bargaining power there.
Bingo.
So
because every team in your league's going to want him.
Yeah. So maybe you could get that. All right, sells this week.
The sells. Antonio Gibson.
It's time.
I would tell every team in the league I am trading Antonio Gibson. He fucked my sister, or he bought stock in a company that competes with the company I work. I don't care what rationale you use. Just don't say, I know he's a bag of dicks and this is the best week he's going to have. Anything outside of that, and somebody out there will go, the Washington football team has turned a corner, and they'll give you something for it.
The 2 touchdown,
and they shouldn't.
Yeah, the 2 touchdown game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was very improbable, but he did get into the end zone twice.
He did,
and I don't know. I don't feel like he's not a guy that I'm selling.
He should be.
I believe in him. I still believe in him, and especially if you're in a dynasty.
Listen to me. Sell now. He's in a work. He's in a timeshare with Jared Patterson. He stays hurt. He's not that good even when he's not hurt. I tried to tell you all of this with Antonio. Oh, you were so wrong about it. Yeah, the league figured him out. And now he's hurt. I mean, you're talking about not in a dynasty. Yeah, his value's higher than in a dynasty. What is the high side for Antonio Gibson? What is the best he can be?
I'd say he's a back end RB1.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's okay. Let's play this game. You tell me who long term he's better than. Let me get to my little that. You tell me which guy he's better than. Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Joe Mixon, Ezekiel Elliott, Najee Harris, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones. I'll be honest with you, Cordero Patterson. He ain't better than Cordero Patterson.
Long term?
He's 27 years old before you say what you're about to say about Cordero Patterson. Yeah, it feels like he's been in the league forever. He was 20 years old when he came in the draft. He's still a young guy. And it has a lot of tread on the tires. Some combination of Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers, whichever one you want to go with, Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift, James Robinson, Damien Harris, Dalvin Cook, Michael Carter, Elijah Mitchell, A.J. Dillon. I'm just 17, just so you know, and you ain't objected not nary a time.
And Cordero Patterson's 30, by the way.
Is he 30?
Yeah.
He still has a lot of tread on the tires.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, I'd rather have Cordero Patterson. Running backs age like dairy products, and Cordero Patterson's been a running back for 15 minutes.
Right.
I mean, it's close. But I see a lot of injury issues with Antonio Gibson. I see a team that I do not know what they're going to look like in a year that doesn't have a quarterback.
Right.
There's just not a lot to like there. I mean, I'm not saying you should give him up for a bag of nickels. I'm just saying I don't see in any way running back one upside.
Yeah.
I listed 17. You objected to one. That does not include running backs in this next draft class, and that does not include guys that haven't put David Montgomery. Would you take him over David Montgomery? No, you wouldn't.
No,
I know you wouldn't.
Probably not.
And especially if I said David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert combo. No, you're not taking him over that. He's a back-end RB2. It's exactly what he is. If you can get more than that for him, value-wise, you do it right now. Because I'm telling you, the more time goes on, the less it's going to happen. Because Jared Patterson has cut into that workload, and J.D. McKissick's been the passing down back the entire time. Name me a running back that's in a three-headed workload that's better than a Bootsy running back 3. I'll give you a hint. There's not one.
Okay.
And that's not going to change. The Jared Patterson thing completely screwed him because Jared Patterson is just good enough to take workload away. He scored 2 touchdowns. Get off this train. It's not a fun ride. I'm just telling you, I've watched Tank doing this all year long, trying to justify Antonio Gibson, who's been a bag of goobers. Do you know where Antonio Gibson is in its standard scoring?
No.
He's 18.
Okay. I still feel like it's pretty good.
But see, that this is where rankings get to be a little misleading.
Mm-hmm.
He's 18 because he had a bye week. How many weeks has he had more than 17 points?
2.
It's twice.
Yeah.
How many times has he had less than 9? It's 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's the definition of please get me off of this.
Right.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Right. All right, so selling Antonio Gibson.
I'm selling
Justin Herbert.
Here's a fun stat about Justin Herbert.
Okay.
After this week, he has more games this year with less than 15 fantasy points than he has more than 15 fantasy points.
Wow.
He's not a QB1. I would rather have Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have – you're going to tell me I'm drunk on this, but it's the truth. I'd rather have Justin Fields. I would rather have Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Not long-term, rest of this year.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have all 3 of the guys I just said. Because he is completely passing dependent, and they don't have enough of a running game to keep you off guard. Now everybody knows what they're doing.
Right.
You know exactly what this offense looks like. And Lombardi, the offensive coordinator, how many passes did he throw last week that were longer than 20 yards?
4. None
0.
of them? Wow.
Not nary a one of them.
Wow.
Smokey the Cat asked, what 2 would you start this week? Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Bateman, or Gallup? It's Amari Cooper, probably Bateman. I would probably go Bateman.
Still waiting for that pop to come.
It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised you didn't throw him on your pickup list again this week.
Who,
You're making
Bateman?
fun of me for Alexander Madison. You say Rashad Bateman every week.
Well, here's the thing. Bateman didn't play for like 4 of the weeks that I said to pick him up.
Yeah,
so
you did.
It was kind of like, hey, don't forget this guy that you've
Don't
never
forget.
fucking seen put on a jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Herbert's a guy that I saw. Kelvion in the comments said, somebody in my league traded Antonio Gibson, Marquise Brown, and Kirk Cousins for Justin Herbert, Fournette, and Lockett. I'm going to be really honest. I think that's an upgrade at every position. Kirk Cousins has been damn near flawless, and that's not going to continue. So I would rather have Herbert than Cousins. I would rather have Fournette than Antonio Gibson, and I'd rather have Lockett than Marquise Brown. That's a home run trade to me.
I don't know that I agree with you on Lockett, but the rest of that I can kind of get down
I
with.
don't know how.
On Tyler Lockett?
Seattle cannot run a greasy peg up a cat's ass.
Mm-hmm.
They have 3 weapons total. One of them is, hey, look, we can throw it to you for 4. That's fun. Let's do that 87 times. Tyler Lockett's going to have another pop game. It's coming. I can't tell you when.
Yeah, but that'll make it 4 for him this year?
And then that's what he does. We talked about that before the season with Tyler
I know.
Lockett. He is he's the Antonio Gibson of wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
The other guy that I'm selling this week's Mark Ingram. If somebody will give you anything for him, get rid of Mark Ingram. He's not good at football. I know he fell in the end zone, and it made him fantasy irrelevant this week. He's not good.
Right.
And when Alvin Kamara comes back, he's completely worthless. And somebody will give you something for him. He's another one of those players that people will ask about. I have these players on rosters all the time. Tuesday, I get a slew of trade offers. Almost invariably, I'll get an offer for a guy that I was getting ready to cut. Mark Ingram's not quite the cut level, but just above it.
Just above the cut level. All right, and then holds. Who are you holding on to?
A.J. Brown. Oh, he sucked so bad. Yeah, because he had Marshawn Lattimore and a safety over the top on him. If Julio Jones comes back, or if Marcus Johnson is just what he was last week, you can't keep doing this. Marcus Johnson ate you alive. You can't keep shielding him like that. Furtzer's still there. Jeremy McNichols is the threat out of the backfield. They're all still things. I would hold A.J. Brown. I know a lot of people are going to look to move him. I think that's an error. Another one, DeAndre Swift. Was this the best game that he will have all year? Probably. He had 33 carries. Do you know how many running backs have done that in the last 2 years? 3 years. It is one. It's Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry.
That's the only other one.
Right.
Nobody else has had 33 carries other than DeAndre Swift and Derrick Henry. And Pat Freiermuth. That's the other one I'm going to hold on to. I know he wasn't particularly good this week. Here's what you have to remember with Pittsburgh. They are heavily invested in Freiermuth. They're not heavily invested in Eric Ebron. Will Ebron still have a role? Yes, but I think it's going to be inconsistent. DFS Flyers this week. Adam Black asked that in the comments. I don't usually start building DFS lineups until Wednesday. If I was just, and this is just to answer your question, this is straight off the dome piece looking at the schedule. If I had to name you one off the top of my head, just looking at the schedule, Myles Gaskin.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets are the worst team in the NFL against running backs. Fantasy points to running backs.
Right.
And they are really bad to ones that can catch.
So Myles Gaskin could have a big week.
Myles Gaskin would be my first thought. My second thought would probably be Justin Fields because I think his floor is really high against the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no Nick Chubb, it would be Dearness Johnson again. Obviously, A.J. Dillon, he's practically the free space on the wheel. I'm going to like a member of Washington, but I don't know who it is yet. J.D. McKissick, maybe? Oh, God, I wish he played receiver. I never can find a way to get him in a lineup, but I look at him and go, ooh, that could be fun. A lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. All right. In closing, let's recap here. The waiver wire pickups for Week 11. Your quarterbacks this week are Cam Newton, Tua Tagovailoa, and Justin Fields.
And they would be in that order. Cam is his first priority. Somebody in your league probably grabbed him last week when he fell on or when he wound up in Carolina. He was a free agent. Somebody probably grabbed him. If I was grabbing a guy for just this week, it's Tua Tagovailoa. If I'm grabbing a guy for the long haul, it's Justin Fields. I like him this week. I like Tua better because he's playing against the Jets, but I think Justin Fields will be a back-end QB1, high-end QB2 in fantasy for the rest of the year.
Running back targets, Romandre Stevenson, who just had the big week, Deontay Foreman, and Wayne Goldman.
If I had to do it in order, Romandre Stevenson is clearly one, and he's a play this week. Whether Damien Harris comes back or not, I don't think he will. I think it will be Romandre Stevenson by himself as the one again against the Atlanta Falcons, which would make him a top 15 running back this week. High-end play. Deontay Foreman's a back-of-the-bench guy just in case that the role grows because he's out touching Adrian Peterson right now. Wayne Gallman, I'm not touching him. Somebody in your league's going to, but he got the carries. Yeah, because they were down 43-3.
Mm-hmm.
I still maintain the running back for the Atlanta Falcons that you want that is not Cordero Patterson is Mike Davis.
Wide receivers on the waiver wire, Marcus Johnson, after his 100-yard performance this past week for the Tennessee Titans. Elijah Moore, who's been coming on, had 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. And Jamal Agnew, who's put together almost a string here of double-digit performances.
Marcus Johnson's a play for about the next 2 weeks. Elijah Moore is a playoff weeks guy because I think they're going to force-feed that relationship with Zach Wilson. And Jamal Agnew is just a guy that he's a back-of-the-bench guy, but he is going to have some big games. They're force-feeding him the ball.
And the tight end whisperer says you should go after Dan Arnold, Tyler Conklin, and Gerald Everett this week.
And for me, you can do that in practically any order. I think all 3 of those guys are back-end tight end ones for the rest of the year. The best position on the waiver wire this week is tight end. This is the week that you should be figuring out who your tight end is for the long haul. I would go Arnold, Everett, Conklin. Conklin's the only one that's touchdown dependent. Targets are high on Arnold and Everett. Mm-hmm. I think they're week in, week out plays. Conklin, you're going to have to play the matchups. But I think all 3 should be on rosters across the industry.
Be sure to tune in with us this afternoon on ESPN Asheville, heard locally on terrestrial radio, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. You can hear us everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Sportsocracy's live at 3 p.m. every afternoon. And, of course, we'll be right back here on YouTube. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Join the House of Reprehensibles. Another fun morning is in the books, and we will see you next time.